Welcome back to Product X, everyone. I'm Rena, and today we're diving into something that's been sending shockwaves through the entire MedTech world. You ready for this? Over the past decade, invasive melanoma cases have surged 42%, yet the number of dermatologists has barely moved. In Boston, patients are waiting up to 8 months just to get a mole checked. 8 months! Meanwhile, a Paris startup just locked in $18 million from Fred Moll, the legend behind the DaVinci surgical robot. So Vivian, Nolan, what's the big deal here?
Hey Rena, hey Nolan. I'm Vivian, a veteran angel investor focused on medtech and healthcare automation. The big deal is simple. This isn't just another AI hype play. They've got FDA and CE clearance already, which means they're not fundraising to run trials. They're fundraising to capture market share. That's a completely different animal.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Nolan, ex-Silicon Valley big tech CTO and systems architect. The big deal is they're actually pulling off something that sounds impossible, a full-body skin map in 3 minutes, micron-level resolution, completely contact-free. That's not just software. That's serious robotics engineering solving a real clinical bottleneck.
Okay, so let's break this down. Vivian, from the investment angle, why would Fred Moll, the father of the DaVinci robot, put his weight behind this? What did he see that made him write that check?
Look, Fred Moll didn't become who he is by betting on incremental improvements. He spotted the exact same formula that made DaVinci a monster success. Automate the routine. Let doctors focus on the complex. SquareMind's Swan does pixel-level automation for skin screening, which is high-frequency, time-consuming, and honestly, brutally manual. A dermatologist today has to photograph every mole by hand, compare them manually over time. It's pure mechanical labor. Swan automates that entire workflow. That's the end game he's betting on.
So it's about replacing the mechanical, repetitive part while keeping the doctor's judgment for the actual diagnosis.
Exactly. And that's the engineering challenge that makes or breaks this thing. You can't just slap a camera on a robot arm and call it a day. The system has to handle kinematic trajectory planning in real-time, reconstructing a patient's 3D body contour, planning a path that covers every inch without touching them. Then you've got automated dermoscopic imaging flowing at high speed, which means hardware triggering and anti-shake algorithms running at industrial-grade precision. Every single image has to be consistent in lighting and focal length, or the comparison data is useless.
Wait, Nolan, that's a great point. And I'd add that from the commercialization side, that consistency is exactly what investors and hospital administrators care about. Standardized imaging means standardized billing codes, predictable reimbursement workflows. Without that, you're just selling a cool gadget, not a revenue-generating machine for clinics.
Right. But the harder problem is actually spatiotemporal image registration. When a patient comes back 6 months later, the AI has to align the new scan with the old one, except the patient might be standing slightly differently. Their skin might be stretched differently. The algorithm has to do pixel-level alignment on the exact same mole across completely different body poses. That's the core moat. That's what keeps competitors out.
So the technical moat is this image registration and the robotic precision. But Vivian, what's the commercial moat here? What stops a big player like Google Health or a major medical device company from just copying this approach?
2 things. First, the regulatory moat. SquareMind already has FDA and CE clearance. That's years of clinical validation that competitors have to replicate. Second, and this is key, the data moat. They're building the largest standardized skin image database in the world. Every scan improves their algorithm. Every new market they enter adds more skin tones, more lesion types, more edge cases. That dataset advantage compounds over time. It's almost impossible to replicate once you're behind.
I'd actually push back a little there. The data advantage only matters if your algorithm can handle the long tail. And that's their biggest technical risk. Different skin tones, different body hair densities, different lesion presentations, the algorithmic representation varies wildly. They need to run massive multi-center trials to generalize across populations. Plus, there's zero tolerance for hallucination in medical AI. If the algorithm missegments a lesion, it could mislead the doctor. That's a liability no one wants to touch.
That's fair. And honestly, that's exactly why this round was structured the way it was. The funding is going straight into diverse clinical trials and building out that safety validation. They're not playing games here.
Got it. So both the commercial and technical paths lead to the same conclusion: they need scale, they need data, and they need to move fast. Nolan, a final technical question for you. In plain terms, what does it actually take to build this thing? What are the engineering bottlenecks?
Honestly, it's the integration of three hard problems. Kinematic planning for contact-free full-body coverage, high-speed imaging with industrial-grade consistency, and real-time 3D reconstruction with pixel-level registration. Most teams can solve one, maybe two. SquareMind has to execute all three simultaneously at medical safety thresholds. That's why this $18 million matters. It's not about building a prototype, it's about hardening the system for deployment at scale.
Perfect. That sets the stage. All right. Let's do a quick lightning round, fast answers. No overthinking. First up, if you had to describe SquareMind's biggest strength in one word, what is it?
Timing.
Integration.
Okay, two very different answers. Next, biggest risk, technical or commercial?
Technical. Generalization across skin types is brutal.
I'd say commercial. Reimbursement frameworks for automated screening still have gaps. That could slow hospital adoption more than the tech itself.
Interesting split again. Third, predict this 5 years from now. Will most routine dermatology screenings be automated?
Absolutely. The economics make it inevitable. Hospitals can't ignore the throughput gains.
I agree, but with a caveat. It'll be augmented automation. AI does the screening, doctors do the diagnosis. Full replacement isn't happening.
Love that nuance. Fourth, if you could add one feature to the Swan robot, what would it be?
Telemedicine integration. Let the AI flag something, then instantly connect the patient to a remote dermatologist for the final call. That closes the access gap entirely.
Real-time risk scoring. Not just detection, but instant probability assessment for each lesion. That would transform the clinical workflow.
Both solid. Last one. Who wins more from this, patients or doctors?
Patients, no question. This is about access. 8-month wait times disappear.
I'd say doctors, honestly. It frees them from grunt work and lets them practice at the top of their license.
That's actually a perfect note to end on. Vivian, give us a one-sentence summary of what we covered today.
SquareMind Swan is positioning itself to capture the massive machine replacement dividend in routine dermatology, backed by the credibility of Fred Moll and the regulatory moat of FDA, CE clearance, a rare combination of timing, technology, and commercial runway.
Nolan?
They're solving a real engineering challenge with spatiotemporal image registration and contact-free robotic scanning, and the technical moat is as real as the commercial one.
That's a wrap, everyone. Thanks to Vivian for the investment perspective and Nolan for the hardcore technical breakdown. If you want to stay ahead of the next wave in medical robotics, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow.